Go. Hey, everybody.
We're going.
We're doing things and stuff. What's up, Internet? Negative Space is here this morning. That's good. And
shout out.
he made a comment because, yes, when I made this stream, I accidentally forgot to change the time. So it was supposed to be August 4th, 7:54 p.m.
Oh.
But that was my bad. So then I switched it last night, and now it should be fine. And yeah, but we're here doing the internet things. So
we are interneting with the best of them.
Hard. We are interneting hard.
So hard today.
We're so good.
Yeah.
We're so good at internet. Hey, and Ben's in our studio space today. So
yeah,
calling in from the PeakD&D studios.
Yeah,
very exciting.
So
it's an inaugural presence on the streams.
Yeah, I think that's true.
That's true. Yeah. So I want to tell you guys and everyone, I picked up my phone today and there was a text from my mom that said, poor Grognak.
I know. We actually get to talk about this.
I know.
And there's a lot of awesome.
Far waiting.
There's a lot of awesome in that comment.
Yes.
And so, yeah.
That's amazing.
Poor Grognak.
I'm glad your mom's keeping up and watching our stories.
She might be our biggest fan. She will probably never show up in a live stream, and that's okay. But like, it's awesome. Like, obviously, that woman loves me. But like, she had no interest in this game before we start putting it on. But she'll like listen to the stories. Like, she really enjoys Nick's story. We have a running joke that my mom might like Nick more than me. Now, which I think is awesome. Doesn't? But well.
This is very favorite inappropriate comment here.
Ouch.
Yes.
Ouch.
This is dangerous for me because I've got my dice at my spot, like right next to me. So I'm like,
just roll
play with dice all day.
Just roll with dice all day.
Trying not to.
Sip your caffeinated beverages.
Yes, sir.
And happy Saturday to all of you joining us I hope you have a nice coffee or a caffeinated beverage of some kind. So thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah, we got Negative Space, and Russ is also in here. So thanks for tuning in.
Hi, Russ.
Shout out.
Dang.
That's awesome, there, matey. He said,
yeah.
Yeah. Poor Grognak.
Dude.
It's true. Hurts.
That's the biggest development, I think, in our story that we've... Man, I've been wanting to talk about this for 3 months.
I know, probably. It's been about that long.
Holy moly.
Yeah, it's interesting, like sitting here and thinking about it, because we've been holding on to this for a long time, but like my emotions were much stronger about the whole situation when it was fresh, right? Like
for sure.
The way things work. So yeah, no, I remember like sitting around that table though, and that was not easy.
No, it was crazy. That was the first real well, as the title of the episode indicates, it's the loss that makes it real, right? So that's a big
themes.
Yes.
I'm curious, Nick, because you've used that as like Grognak and Char's tagline. Where does that line come from?
It's an extrapolation of Char's dogma. As the goddess of loss, every emotional loss that you feel becomes an act of devotion to her. So really,
that's so hardcore.
Right. So when I threw one of the potential recruitable NPCs happens to be a disciple of Char, it made a lot of sense for him to be willing to do this. For the folks at home, there were a couple of NPCs that they could recruit before they went to Mithranor for a little extra muscle. And Grognak, Moon Puncher, the half-orc monk, was one of them. And he was by far my favorite personality-wise, so I'm glad you picked him. But each of them had different things that they would be useful for in surviving Mithranor, and this was Grognak's. Grognak gets what the whole Fane of Char and the Three Keys are about, and is willing to actually take the risk of going under the knife to get that key out.
Very literally, yes.
So, if he lives, he lives, and if he dies in an act of devotion to his goddess. So he was willing to take that.
He was probably welcomed into the halls of Shar with open arms. I hope.
And it also kind of hints at some of the things Illingsworth gave up in order to become the Master of Shadows.
Yes. Which never actually a title I have stolen and claimed, but I don't really think I have right to at this point, as given by last sessions.
Yeah, man.
But there was one pretty sweet shadowy moment. Illingsworth's finest moment is coming up, and I am excited for that.
I almost spoiled it, but I was like, oh yeah, wait, never mind.
Next or the one after? Yeah, no, I remember it being very quickly on the heels of the loss of Grognak, and feeling really, really good.
Because there is no time to sit and dawdle and feel bad about Grognak. We
gotta go.
Are fast approaching. I think we did see the vision of Dad at the gates. Like he's outside. He's working his way down here.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So we like him and his guys are like fighting outside the Fane of Shar. They're like hot on our heels.
They are cutting a path to you.
Yeah.
Yeah, your dice rolls are constantly going down, so we know he's getting closer.
Like
you did raise an. Go ahead.
I was going to say, at this point, with like the way pace and things are going, like we could put up the like old school 24 clock in the bottom of the screen because, that's how fast things are moving at this point.
Yeah, they are.
Exactly.
It does. So Nick brought up a point that I was going to ask about the 3 NPCs that we could bring to Mythjanor.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that kind of begs the question of like, if we didn't bring Grognak and brought somebody else. We've talked about this in the studio before, like after sessions, of where they might actually end up, but would any of them have made it to this point for us to sacrifice them?
Well, they obviously it's not written in stone, right? Like you guys could roll a Baylor as a random encounter and explode and die.
Mm-hmm.
But in the abstract, yes, you could have gotten him there.
Okay.
However, Grognak is the only one who would have volunteered.
Yeah.
For
the
that.
other ones, we would have had to like knock out and detain ourselves, kind of thing.
That's certainly one way to approach it.
Yeah. One thing I was thinking about was like, I wonder if, I mean, call it fate, call it destiny, call it Nick's planning the session, but like, would it have been a different type of challenge, or would it have been the 3 keys no matter what?
Oh, it still would have been the 3 keys.
Yeah.
You just would have had to
Illingsworth would have
party
died.
member's life, or find a way to persuade one of the NPCs to risk their life.
It would have been. I feel like it would have been. Oh, it could have been any 3 of us. I was just thinking about motivations and like our characters, like
Gord, lawful good, doing the best.
Yeah.
No, you guys all talked about this beforehand. I mean, it was like anyone had a strong in-character justification for going through with it. And as a storyteller, I love to see that.
Yeah. The thing I would have thought about, I think Gord would have thought about before volunteering himself, if it came to that point, would be, hey, does that magic rock do anything cool, as in bring you back to life?
Playing about with the magic rock would pretty much always be catastrophic. I'll just let you know that.
Oh yeah, but Gord would have been like, we have this magic rock and it's basically, it seems like a god, so maybe we should ask it to see if we can help you out if you go under the knife.
Oh no, it's not a god, it's much worse.
Yeah. But also we would have had other reasons, like probably nefarious reasons, to volunteer our other NPCs rather than us.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I don't think, sure. You guys could do all sorts of justification for it.
We could have been Illingsworth. Would you not have wanted to be like, the cop takes it, to get the cop dead? Like,
I mean, I would have chosen anyone over the 3 of us.
Yeah.
Because like you got, it's like we've joked the whole time, like the Fast and Furious family. Like we should have ended with Coronas. But like you guys are my new family. And so like, I automatically would have, if the choice was like one of you or somebody else.
Yeah.
Somebody else would always be first.
It would always be someone else. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, they just wouldn't have volunteered. I would have been like, handsome Sal, you're too good looking for this world, my friend. I have to be the most handsome one in the party. I can't.
Your jealousy would
mirror of them all. Who's the fairest of them all?
Yeah,
handsome Sal.
Drawing the sword and being like, we knew it was going to come to this, Sal. Come on.
You're like,
oh my God, that handsome smile up your face.
You didn't even have to do that, man. Like there was another way.
No, I would have done it. I probably, I love you guys. It was like, ah. That would have been an interesting scenario. I don't think that would have happened. I think Jastian probably would have. I don't know. I don't think he would have wanted. I wouldn't have wanted to leave you guys to deal with my dad. I felt like that was my mess to clean up, and like dying right there wouldn't have.
Yeah.
Probably would have motivated me to not continue down that path, but
yeah.
I mean,
would we have all stood around arguing that each of us want to die?
Oh, it would have been been very hard. We would have tried to talk each other out of it the entire session.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I thought that would be a super interesting thing to have happen.
True.
So thank God for Grognak. Thank Shar for Grognak.
Yeah, thank Shar.
That's what I say.
Thank Helm for protecting us with Grognak.
Well, and I would also like to say shout out to that magic rock, because Grognak, like the episode before, got teleported into the ground and would have died. So had the magic rock not been used, it would have he would have never been there. So it would have been us looking at like the three of us, which then like regardless of who went and who didn't, would have had the whole end game, which we all know about right now, with two of us instead of three.
That so
food for thoughts.
Because we needed all three of us for that fight.
I sure hope you did.
Yeah. I mean, Nick, what would you if there were only two of us, would you have just adjusted challenges accordingly, or would you have
left it up?
Oh, I would have done something clever.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I don't know, man. If we had only made it into two, I feel like
have just let the person whose character died just sit and watch while everybody else went through the climax.
That makes sense.
For sure. We would have found something to get them involved in some sort of way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would have had to adjust things. If suddenly you don't have the badass paladin who one-shots everything, that's going to affect how you approach the final confrontation.
Well, I just had a thought, but it's a spoiler, so I won't say it. But I had a
that's
thought.
Fair enough. No, I mean, we would have done something, and I'll freely admit I don't know exactly at this moment what that would have been. But the nice part about doing episodic gameplay and episodic stories is I get to think about that stuff in between sessions and respond to what has actually happened. So I didn't need to think of something clever. I just thought I'll do something clever if one of them actually dies.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
All right, Jastian, give me Gorman's character sheet. I got this.
I mean, that would have been rad.
Robin Goodfellow. You could play a bird trying to do stuff. That could be fun.
Oh no, there's a million different things. But I think that's a savvy tip right there for anyone. Like DMs out there, like you don't have to have it all planned out. Like you can sit in that uncertainty, as uncomfortable as it may be for you, for that week, and let it marinate.
Leave some of it up to these guys. You know what I mean? See what happens. See what story they want to tell. That's what I would say. That's the truth. That's because I like the story that our dice told, dude. And that Nick told through the dice.
It's been crazy.
It's been wild.
I'm pretty happy with how it went.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, I'm curious now that you brought up the magic rock, and now that we're done, I would love to learn more about it, but I don't know if that's a better thing to do on like once the last episode has aired, like the closing up of the campaign. Okay.
Yeah, I feel like that'd be later in the day.
Some things will need to remain confidential for future reference.
Oh, fair. Okay.
But I'm happy to talk about the things I can talk about.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, no, I guess if it's still going to be relevant, then I am fine with surprises and whatnot.
Is the rock like its own thing? Like, is it an artifact of some kind? Is it like
the Shadow Stone? It is in fact, it's an artifact of Shar, and as being associated with the goddess of mysteries and loss and obfuscation, a lot of its powers are not immediately clear.
Gotcha.
And what the things
that makes sense.
Yeah. No, you've figured out a few neat tricks it can do, and discovered some others through we'll say highly motivated experimentation.
If I wanted to make a gauntlet that could hold this rock and maybe several others,
I've already done it. I'm not doing the Infinity Saga again.
No.
Okay.
I've already done that campaign.
Cool. No, that's fine. Totally fine.
We're gonna do crazy
like it.
stuff though.
That would be
We
sweet.
have a lot of interesting. The bases are pretty interestingly loaded, I think, for the story we're going to be doing in the next. We're going to be starting in the next little while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Session
and
0 coming up.
Yes,
And that brings us to our next sort of topic of discussion, was that we have finished Beyond the Feywild filming wise and not release wise. That'll come out in the next couple of months. So if you're playing the game at home, but we are starting filming our new campaign like next week. So it's exciting. Campaign 2, as of yet unnamed.
Yep.
But I don't know that it needs a name at this point.
One
feel
will
like
come.
It'll come out.
We'll find it. We'll find what it is as we get into it.
Can you tell us anything about what people might expect in the next campaign, Nick?
So the next campaign, where is going to be, I think, a little bit more geographically large in scope. The story that we told with Into the Fey and then into Beyond the Feywild was pretty centered around the Dale Lands and then in Myth Draenor. This campaign, we're going to be going on on quite an adventuresome journey through the Forgotten Realms and discovering a lot of buried secrets. So that's something that we can all look forward to.
Yeah.
Ooh, I look forward to unlocking the airship.
I mean, heck, you might. There's a country where they make those. I don't even have to make that up. They got that base loaded for us.
Nice.
Sweet.
Nice.
They're called How Ruined Sky Ships in this game.
Oh, go on.
Well, that's basically it. They are galleys that fly.
And where are they located?
Halrua.
And Halrua. What is Halrua? What do they get down with?
They're basically country of mages. They're it's one of the less explored region in an official source material anyway of the Forgotten Realms. But yeah, they're a country full of wizards. They build cool wizard shit, and one of the cool things they built are ships that fly on the air.
Yeah. Okay, then.
Treasure Planet.
Yeah, right. All right, man. What other bases are loaded?
So we've got, let's see here. I mean, in terms of that, like, I know there's like 2 or 3 different parts of Forgotten Realms lore, and particularly like the story in the 5e published modules that might be linking things together that I want to explore in this. And so basically, they if you've like read through or played through the 5e published adventure paths, they have a recurring element that you will see that you've already seen in Beyond the Feywild that I made sure to include, and that will factor heavily into the climax of that campaign when that video drops. So basically, they've been loading the bases for something by including this recurring element. And before whatever the official explanation that Wizards of the Coast comes up with and publishes in whatever they're going to do with it, I want to have my take on it. And I want to get that out there, awesome. Just so that my ideas about what that can be don't get like affected by whatever the official answer is. I want to explore what that does for my creativity before I hear what their official answer was. So that's kind of the impetus behind this.
It's like
Dungeons and Dragons.
Reading the book before seeing the show, so you have like, oh, that actor isn't etched in your mind as this character.
Yeah, exactly.
Like develop them. Sure.
Yeah, because once you see somebody's take on it, you will inevitably begin to form, but that will inform your interpretation of the work.
Absolutely.
And I really want to explore the interpretation that I'm kind of coalescing toward before I know what the official one is.
The beginner's mind.
Yeah,
I admire that.
Hopefully it's fun. Maybe whatever Wizards of the Coast is working on is 100 times better than what I'm putting together. But I won't know until I do this.
Absolutely. And we'll be along for the journey to help tell that story.
Excellent.
Very exciting.
And that's just one aspect of the things I'm interested in exploring. Obviously, the more day-to-day stuff is going to be based on the characters you guys put together. And I'm really interested to learn more about those people and what their goals are and what they want out of this great mystery of life.
Yeah.
I logged into this call late, right before we went live. So are we doing that today? Are we talking about campaign 2?
I think. Oh, geez, sorry. I think very minimally, right? Just kind of like.
Well, yeah, I'm going to put some questions on your radar, and I've shared an outline with you guys of what I think our session 0 is going to look like on Monday. And I have some questions I would like you to mull over as we approach the start of the second campaign. So I'm happy to go over some of those questions with you here and now, if you like.
I'm down.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely going to do it on Monday and make it official, and whoever's not here.
Are we talking about our characters, or are we going to save that for the premiere?
Let's save that for the premiere.
Okay.
Let's save the actual character story, and maybe you can, I don't know, allude to that with this. I don't know.
I might mention my class, but that's fine.
That's fine. Yeah, so we're going to be starting campaign 2. It's going to begin in Icewind Dale in the 10 Towns. So the 10 Towns are a place where people go to be left the heck alone, or to disappear, or to not be a part of worldly affairs for a while. And my first question is simply, why is your character there? We know that for the story to happen, you're going to be in 10 Towns. Why are you there? How did you end up getting there? Do you even know where you are? Did you just walk out of a hole in the ground and look where we ended up? I don't know. That's an answer. I'm willing to accept that answer, but I would like an answer.
Do you want it answered now or later? You just want us to? Are you just telling us the question?
Feel free to riff on it if you want.
No,
I might have just crawled out of a hole. That's entirely possible.
Yeah.
I feel like we say, I just want to hear these questions. Let's save the answers.
And we'll talk about
the session 0.
Sounds good. Give people a reason to check out our session 0.
Yeah.
All right. I would like you guys to think about what does your character right now at the start of their journey, what do they want? And you can take that and run with it as far or as not far as you want. Just give me something that your character wants right now. Another question I'm following up with, and this is a different question. What does your character need? So contemplate both those questions and try to find some interesting space between those two answers. Where did your character learn the abilities that they have, or how did they develop them? Did someone teach them? Are they just a natural talent? Are they interested in learning more about their abilities and developing them further? Just develop a relationship to your character's class. If you're a warlock, how did you meet this strange entity that now grants you powers? If you're a sorcerer, when did your powers manifest? How did they manifest? and what is are you have you learned to fight because you've always had to? Have you had a rough life? Are you were you a rich kid who studied swordplay under a master? That kind of stuff. So just think about that stuff, and that will help coalesce your character into a more complete story. Let's see here. How did your character get into the adventuring life? So how did you get into wandering the planet and going on quests? Even if that's not exactly what you're doing right now, why will your character take that opportunity when it comes to you? As it will in the story, of course. What does your character find appealing about being an adventurer? About being a wandering swordsman or wizard or rogue? What does your character would your character stop adventuring if they could? That's another thing to keep in mind.
Oh, that's an interesting question.
Yeah.
What would you say is your character's most appealing personality trait? So what is the most admirable or appealing quality of your character's personality? What does your character do that annoys or angers people? Contemplate both those things. And this is an interesting question. It might echo some of the other questions, but I want to firm up the context of it. If your character had the powers of a deity for 5 minutes, what would they do in those 5 minutes?
Oh,
crazy.
Yeah. So
it's a good one.
Framework. Those are the major questions I'm going to come at you with on our session 0, and just let those marinate. And if you have some, if there are some things that excite you about those answers, just bring that to session 0, and we will explore that together.
Yeah, I like them.
Cool. Yes. Thank you for emailing those to us. Because as I was just sitting here listening, taking them in, it was just oh man, this is a lot. Okay, I'm not going to remember all of this.
Oh, of course not. No. It's shared on our PeakD&D handy dandy Google Drive.
So then I'm sort of curious, because all of those questions are intentional, very clearly. And without giving too much away, why are those the session 0 questions?
Those are the session 0 questions because I think that that's where I need to know what your character's headspace looks like if I'm going to present this story element in a way that is going to intrigue you, that is going to engage with your characters. Yeah. So a DM thing that I've seen not work out great is writing the story and entirely up to you, and not taking into account the people that are going to be participating in the story, that are going to take those actions. So if I've written Game of Thrones and one of my players wants to play Slappy the Clown, who is a rogue who sneak attacks people by throwing banana cream pies in their faces, that's obviously going to require some adaptation on my part. Because we don't want that character to get red weddinged immediately. So in exploring the inner life of characters and what motivates the player's actions, you can tell a lot more compelling a story, and you can make sure that it's tonally consistent with what the players want to do.
Yeah.
And so the questions I'm asking because I believe they will help me to tell a better story if I have those answers. Particularly some of the things about, what your greatest desires are. I need to be able to tempt you with some things. I need to be able to, get inside your heads and maybe find a pathway to the adventure that's compatible with your goals and your ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet.
I like it. I'm already thinking. My brain is...
Plus, some of them are just really fun things to think about that'll help you create a more 3D individual.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think it's interesting too. Like for me personally, like all of my characters have an evolution of their own too. Like, so I would be interested to ask myself those questions about my character as the story itself unfolds, right? Because like, yeah, as much as I think it's important for DMs to leave space, like I also think it's important for players to leave space.
I definitely have been thinking that about this campaign in particular, and sort of the arc that I'm imagining, which will certainly be informed by the events of the story and things as they unfold. But I sort of like the idea of not knowing where my character's gonna go specifically, but just having like a couple of things that like are immediate concern, which is what we're talking about in session 0. And then I think another thing to talk about that we will do in the session 0 is to talk about, like Nick, you sort of mentioned, like the kind of story we want to tell together. And I think a lot of that's going to be, you know, the party dynamic between Gord, Jastian, and Illinsworth was it was very cohesive, you know. I don't know why, but those characters just gelled and worked together. They were like, it was really kind of cool to see that happen. So I'm curious to see,
because you're all good players and you wanted to get along.
Yeah, I'm just curious as to like what this new party is going to look like and feel like. And it's always jarring, you know, to see like people, you know,
go from
and again like
friends who went through 68 episodes together to
back to like strangers. Yeah, you know. And then so I think that's a little weird for us as players to keep that in mind. Which is sort of why we rearranged a little bit in the studio to give us a new, fresh start and a different mindset and different characters and stuff. But I was thinking about,
are we going to rotate the table every time we have a new campaign?
Yep.
I don't know. There's only so many ways we can do this.
But 4 campaigns in theory might actually be years. So
new table. We'll build a new table.
Oh, I mean, rotating the table is certainly a more sustainable solution than building a new table every time. It is, man.
Maybe.
I love you, Oath of the Martyr. It is.
Yes.
But I guess my thought is, like, to your point, Ben, as far as our last characters, how cohesive they were, I think it started so well because of our session 0 that we were unable to air, unfortunately, maybe somewhere down the road. But like, I'm curious how this session 0, like our first meeting of the characters, is going to play out, because I really enjoyed how natural, like, all of our characters were in a natural environment at the beginning of last campaign, and so it just worked really well how we met that way. So I'm sure Nick will have those situations, you know, put up for us as well for the next campaign. But I just thought that our session 0 is very natural to me, of how where we all were at that space and how we all like got into.
It's so interesting to me. Yeah.
By grand cosmic coincidence, you have all ended up in the same park.
Yeah, but
exactly.
Like,
interesting
but like we all had
good
good reasons to be there, which begs the questions that you're asking us.
Yeah,
will lead you to put us in the in the world where we're supposed to be. That
right,
feels
and
natural.
When I did that, I had some cards. I had a few like suggested, like, hey, here's what a suggested character relationship with somebody in this town. That ended up being fairly consequential.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was I try to do organic storytelling.
Yeah.
A lot of DMs tend to either skip the part where the party meets, or to do one of a dozen ready-made, you meet in a tavern kind of situations.
Yeah.
I like to find like the meeting of the minds is kind of like a part of the I don't know. I mean, it feels weird to tell a story about a group of heroes
that never
and
met,
then
but
not
also know each other,
and then not explore how they decided to work together. So hopefully all of the tech works on this session 0, and we can pull all this together.
Which I think makes more party cohesion too, right? Like that natural meeting and playing that out.
Man,
it gives you a starting point for the relationship.
Yeah.
Instead of asking you all to imagine it and you guys imagining 3 different things and then never really comparing notes about it, you know?
Right.
But I've seen it go so wrong. The introduction of players and characters to one another. Like, I feel like there's an exercise, not like a trust fall exercise with the group, but that there is like sort of like an unwritten agreement amongst all the players that like, hey, this is going to be the situation. These are our given circumstances, right? And we don't know one another, but like we can't be too antagonistic against each other. Like I've had familiars die in the first combat. I've had animal companions die in the first combat because people were trying to get too clever and make like enigmatic first impressions. And so there's, let's just keep it simple.
Just curious, Max, and maybe, I mean, I guess all of you, but to that point, do you think that's more, would you say that's more in the players or the DM? I mean, I know it's a mixture of both, but when that situation goes wrong,
I think that there's accountability to be shared in that. So like, I remember I've also witnessed an occasion where somebody rolled a 1 and killed somebody else's familiar and all of that kind of stuff. But it's rough. I think that characters I don't think that characters initially coming to blows is necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah.
I think that maybe there is a relationship that can develop from that. I mean, we could have a Goku and Vegeta situation, with the fighter and the barbarian, or
fight it out, hug it out later.
Who's stronger. But it's the thing is that you've got to have everybody on the same page in terms of I'm going to meet these people and through one way or another go on adventures with them. So kind of what has to happen is that both parties have to be looking for reasons to work together, and obviously we don't want to end up in a situation where two players introduce their characters, the characters don't get along, they fight, and one kills the other, and now that character's dead. That's not what you want to have happen. Excuse me. And there are player ways to prevent that, and there are DM ways to prevent that. Yep. Maybe these two people brawling in the streets, they bump into somebody who's doing something nefarious, or they get arrested and have to sit in a jail cell together for a night, and the only thing to do is talk to one another. Yeah. Anything can happen with that. So I think that if everybody has the same goal going into it, and that goal is to form a party and tell a story together, then I think that what happens next is largely going to be fine.
Mm-hmm.
If everybody has that goal and everybody works toward it, and then I think you're going to be fine.
Yeah. It's interesting to me, your character, you're talking about what our characters need. But also, so there's things that each character's backstory they need, right? But they need help. They need support. You can't, because I think deep down, no matter how edgelord your character may be, you have to realize that you can't do it alone. You have to be part. It's in a D&D setting, obviously, because you're not gonna just play with by yourself.
Up the structure of the game that way.
Yeah.
If you want to be a lone wolf, this is not the game to be doing that in. It's just not complimentary. You could do that a lot better with a video game with a protagonist who you could be who you want to be with. But with D&D, it's inherently collaborative. It can't be escaped. It's just, even if you're doing a solo campaign, you're still going to have a dungeon master, or a dungeon master in a book. I've seen a few modules that try to do it that way. Yeah. And it's just, you cannot do it by yourself playing D&D. And that's something that you've got to just embrace about it and explore how the collaborative nature can make it more fun, instead of trying to work against it and just not having any fun.
Well, it's also the reason to play, right? Is for that collaborative storytelling experience. We're not all team sport athletes. We're not all in a band. But there are.
I check both those boxes.
Well, the rest of us don't, Tony. You're the unicorn. But you know what I mean?
Jock of the group.
Apparently.
So it's a different. It's still a place where you can get all of the same joy and feel good neurochemistry of all of those things, of
Yeah.
being something that is like bigger than yourself and a collective and part of a collective.
Absolutely.
I do have two very like nuts and bolts questions
Sure.
about this session 0 coming up. We talked about character introductions. Are we going to be doing that session 1, or is that going to be part of the session 0? And my second question is, we have recorded videos and talked about what we have called, Nick, your knots. Do you have knots, ways to tie us into the story that we are to select?
Do I have knots?
I mean,
no, totally. Yes.
okay.
I got what you. I get what you're
I
laying
think
down
kind
here.
of like we picked backgrounds for Into the
Correct.
Bay, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we had sort of an
exactly.
extra
We picked
background.
like
Yeah.
here's what my character's doing in Airedale last time.
Yeah.
I do have something similar, but I'm going to try to make it a little more. I'm going to try to make it a little more open-ended this time too. So here's what I got for you.
Okay.
So we are. Session 0 is mostly going to be a making these characters and setting the scene kind of session.
Sweet.
I mean, like maybe if we're really raring to go at the end of it, we can do the party meetup scene. But I'm honestly planning that for session 1 content.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good to know.
I'm open-minded on that. As to some other stuff, after we, you'll see this if you check out the outline I sent you here. But we're gonna go through like making the characters, nuts and bolts. We're gonna go through the questions. I'm gonna try to get some answers from you, and then we're going to do a little bit of a lottery.
Saw that.
I am.
Curious
I'm
about
going to add something to your character's story. And
Okay.
we're going to determine. I'm going to have you blindly pick, essentially, a color, and that's going to have some additional impacts on your character's circumstances, on their sometimes what they have or their abilities, and not all of them will be positive. Some of them will be positive, some of them will be negative, and a lot of them will be mixed.
Yeah.
Sure.
But yeah, that's how I'm going to introduce some I think fun wrinkles to what you have planned.
I
So
love it, man. How many colors are there?
what's that?
How many colors are there?
I'm still fleshing out the list, but there are at least 7 right now.
Cool.
Dope.
Word.
Roy G. Biv, baby.
Yeah.
I mean, I start with Roy G. Biv, and then I start getting weird if I have more ideas.
Chartreuse.
Yes.
Of course. Yes. Viridian.
Is that aubergine? Is that what you call that?
Creamsicle.
Yeah, we can get some eggplant in there.
Listen, I know for a fact
It's based
you
on
can
the
buy
number. I'm going to have you draw
164.
dice out of a jar. It's based on the colors of dice I have.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's infinite. I mean, I know. Like, come on, we all think about how many dice we all have.
We have a lot of dice.
No, I think it's
Paradoxically, not enough.
yeah, and I mean, I
Never
obviously
enough.
in this situation sounds awesome. I love that it's different than what you did before, but it fulfills the same. It fulfills the same need. And I also trust you as like a DM that like no choice is going to be bad.
I mean, they're all going to be interesting.
Yes.
Right. Like, and yeah, I mean,
all-
I
I think what you mean is like bad as in like they will all tie into the greater story.
Right.
And
None of
give
this
us
is,
a
None
like
of this
you
is
said.
meant to like override your choices,
Right.
precisely. But
oh,
we only add, we don't subtract.
right. Well, that's what I mean. And it doesn't, yeah, like, and even from like a detrimental gameplay effect, like level 1 characters are weak as fuck. Like none of these choices are going to like condemn a character to
Oh
a
man,
also
harder
also
life.
That.
Yeah. I'm sort of thinking like, again, I think my character is going to be a bit like cut and dry until like mid game.
I think mine will probably be.
I
the
don't
same.
know.
Well, then I guess mine has to be exciting from go.
You're number one.
You're the face. You're the
the
Jastian
face.
of this party. Of this.
You're
this
the
campaign.
Jastian.
Oh, I thought you were the Jastian.
Me?
I thought well, yeah. I mean, well, the way we rolled it up, like it was all of us, but we made Ben do it because he had the worst charisma because neither
Which
of us
was hilarious.
none of us wanted to talk. Yeah, aren't you going to be? Well,
I don't know. I mean, I'm good with
Depends on the
talking
dice,
about
man. I don't
whatever,
know.
but it's up to you guys of how much you want to tease before sessions.
I know how I want my stats to go, but I like depends on what we
you
roll on the
roll.
superhero chart. You know, it's hard to have a bad character with superhero chart.
That is the truth.
Yeah, that's fair.
I do have a question that you probably can't answer, Nick, and that's fine. But I was just gonna ask for those dice and the rolls, or the dice. Could you give us one, like just one thing that could happen, like an example?
One that you're not going to use.
An example would be there is one color that gives you a powerful enemy.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
So
just,
it's
somebody
randomized,
who
but
doesn't
similar
like
to a
what you are
quirk table.
about and wants to ruin your day.
Cool.
There's an example.
Cool.
There's another one that will let you start the game with a minor magic item.
Nice.
So it's stuff like that, you know.
Nice.
And a lot of those things are bundled together.
Right.
Is what I'm
Yeah,
finding.
There's a
I
ring
really
of
wanna
protection,
do.
but also you're going to be running from a demon.
Yeah, I think what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to, like I said, I'm still working on the list and it's developing. But I think what I'm going to ultimately end up doing is giving each color a positive thing it does for you, and then a consequence.
Yeah.
Like maybe you got this minor magic item by making an enemy, and then we can explore that later on in the story. You know,
Perhaps you liberated it from somebody else.
Yep.
Sure. Maybe that was left in that snowdrift specifically for someone to come pick it up.
It was.
And when that person didn't find it, they got really upset.
Ooh, piece of candy.
Sure.
In the PeakD&D metaverse, though, Nick, please make that succinct, because we could probably share that to other DMs to use.
Oh, sure. I won't write 9 pages for each one, but yeah, well, that's content,
it sounds
folks.
Like, it sounds like an iteration of a quirk table, essentially.
Right. Some sort of iteration of it, yes.
So-
The quirks table specifically, though, I have an idea about and I have a use for. So we'll look for that in the future.
Yeah,
It's
that's
kind of
what
like
you
we
mentioned.
have a choice of the quirk. We could choose that, and then we also have a randomized idea too.
I would be curious, what does everyone say? So, like, as far as house rules and things, because it sounds like session 0 is going to be kind of packed up. Like, you've got a thing you have an agenda for that, Nick, and I think that's awesome.
Yep.
I would like to propose something that we can all think about as for the holding of actions in a turn.
Sure.
Instead of the ready action.
Yeah, instead of the ready action, I would like to propose some sort of homebrew rule that you can, if I want to let the situation unfold before I do my thing, I can choose to go after one of you. Or if I
move yourself in the
move yourself in the initiative order.
Yeah.
But be able to take your whole turn.
Correct.
Not just ready and action.
Right. Correct.
And,
Be like, hey, I want to see how this unfolds before I make my choices of action, bonus action, and movement.
Right. Because rules as written, you could technically do that to be the trigger is like once this person does something, but according to the rules, you have given up your ability to do your full turn. So you can move or you can do an action. You can choose to do the other thing if the trigger doesn't
if you
happen the way
guess
you
what's going to happen. And I think that's a fucked up rule, and I don't like it. So
I don't disagree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, where you can hold your turn.
I'm open to that.
Yeah.
And then do you go back in the initiative order, or do you
stay in the new one?
We can leave that up to think on it, see what you guys think is fair, what you guys think is most fun.
I'd say stay in your new place. In the initiative order makes sense to me. Because say you were first, but then you want to go last, that means you're taking 2 turns right away.
That seems fair. Yeah, you probably can't. If I'm like
I'm gonna wait I'm first, but I'm gonna wait till the end of the turn. Then you take 2 turns basically in a row. I feel like that's kind of odd as far
which
as
can definitely mess up action economy for bad guys and for good guys.
Yes. So to me, it's like you can move. Every round you can move in the initiative, but you always started that initiative at the next round.
Well, I don't think you can move up.
I guess
you could probably,
not up, unless other people move you up. You know what I mean? But yes.
Or like if I want to go at the beginning of the next round, like I can sacrifice my actions this round to go before everyone else next round.
I will not.
I feel like that's fair.
All of these were mechanics under 3.5.
Oh, well, there you go. You're very well
they were
versed.
indeed.
Yeah.
So maybe we adopt the initiative order / turn taking and adopt 3.5 rules. We'll look at those and Nick can propose that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, I just think from like, hey, as a tactician.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
And like looking to be a spellcaster, like.
Yes, that's also important.
Like being able to have a bit more say of where you go.
Yeah.
Can go a long way.
Yeah. I'm open to this. I think this is something that I could play with. We'll chat it out. We'll flesh it out, I think, on the session 0, but I think that there's a version of this rule that we can all agree on.
Sweet. Awesome.
Rules is written all the way. No changes.
Sweet. Paladin.
Okay,
good thing you're going to get outvoted.
Hashtag no changes.
I still think, and that's what I think, that's the other part of session 0, right? Again, we've talked about like, we're creating our characters together. We're talking about the kind of story we want to tell. We're talking about the setting and the world. And those are all sort of like, we have a little more to say in character creation, but a lot of that's Nick stuff.
Yep.
And then there's like
how
the actual nuts and bolts of how are we playing this game. And that's the other thing. And so I guess I'm totally on board with Nick, your idea of that. Like, I don't think we're going to play anything. Like, I think we're just going to talk about the characters and do a real session 0 where like, we don't need maps. We don't need minis. We don't really only need dice to roll stats, but everything else is like, it's all setting it up. That's why it's session 0 to me. So
we're going to do that for 3 hours on Monday.
Hell yeah.
I mean, I was going to not necessarily, say this for, I don't know why, but I was going to say like session 0 to us, to me, is like the hour. And then we're going to break as we do in the studio, because we shoot 2 episodes usually. And then we'll play session 1.
But it sounds like, well, and this is why I wanted to ask Nick if that was going to be the case or if that was not going to be the case. That's because fair. It seems
I'm ready for anything. I'm ready to do a session 1, assuming that we get through all the session 0 stuff, or if that ends up taking 2 hours, maybe it's like its own video and we come back to it the following recording session. But I'm ready to go with a session 1 of this campaign
with the
after we do our sessions.
But I think the episodes as they will stand will be separate.
Yeah. Oh, certainly there'll be separate episodes.
Yeah.
Well, and as much fun as rolling characters is for us, like we're talking Nick's superhero grid. So like
36 rolls a person.
Yeah. The actual like construction of the character, while like super exciting and one of the most thing for players to do, like, I don't know how to turn
we won't use any of it
to compelling, compelling footage for other people.
Yeah. We're not going to just have, dice clicking for 15 uninterrupted minutes. We are slightly better at our jobs than that.
This is my laborious decision process of like, oh my God, what do I make my constitution? And like, oh, where do I write all my
I think some of that debate might be worth keeping. I mean, we'll include it in the video if something interesting happens. But basically, we're going to be,
if it's just dead space and none of us are really talking for whatever reason, then I can fade into the next talking points. You know what I mean? If we're just rolling
we've got an outline to work from. That'll be helpful.
My other thought is that while we're rolling dice, I think we're good enough players and good enough, being on camera of not talking over each other. Of like Nick could be setting the scene or talking about certain things while we're rolling, so it's like quiet and dice rolling, but he could be, I don't know. There's space where we could be doing things while we're dice rolling too.
Yeah, I mean, I'll explain what the superhero grid is, so look forward to that, folks.
I think all that stuff could happen in like 30 seconds. Be like, this like we digitally generate or take a picture of our grids, flash them on the screen, and then this is how I put them in my character sheet. But like, we're not going to show the character sheets, but like,
no. But I'm imagining the graphic where I like explain the grid and it just kind of like rolls out and then line here. This is the one they pick. Yeah. And this is all inside baseball here. We can, but we'll roll 36 times together and then we push play. Really interesting.
Or we all roll the dice, then we push play.
I need focus, man. Like these are like some of the most important rolls you make in the entire game. Like they literally set the stage or at least set the table for how things will go, man. I'm not trying to entertain people. I'm trying to roll a whole bunch of 18s.
Right. Well, I think
That's
I think
me.
what makes it onto camera is the result of all that stuff. Like, you know, we don't show us actually really does like, okay, this is my character. These are their, we can show their stat card if we want. Like,
no, I don't. But it's going to take a lot of time. Don't worry about it.
that's what I'm just saying. Like, it'll take time and it'll be part of our session, but like, that's not gonna make it into the final cut.
It doesn't have
We're
to
not
make
gonna
it to the final cut.
I don't even know if we record at that point. Like, until we're like, okay, here's my character sheet. It's filled out. We'll start talking about the, you know.
No, everything is content, man. My bald spot needs airtime, so I can just be like looking over books and rolling dice.
That's why I wear hats.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I like it. Everything is content. Maybe we just release it as like a.
Well, better to have it.
Random. Yeah.
And
We've only
not
got
need it.
103 hours before I can left on the drive. So.
Okay. Is there old
So-
footage on the drive?
Oh yeah, we have to clean it up. We have
Okay,
to get
cool.
the other stuff. We got to back it up to
And I
another
have
drive. And,
backups of backups too. So
yeah.
Awesome.
Well, so we could probably clean off that drive and get back to
probably.
however many. Just, you know, it's just the only solid state drive we have. So, but it, I mean, we filled it up. Like we did a lot of filming on that thing,
Yeah,
which is pretty
absolutely
crazy.
Uh,
And it would have been a lot less time if we were recording like each individual camera feed and not just the big super source.
That's fair.
So it'll be a little different, which I got. That's a graphic design to do for Monday, which because we got to have something ready to have.
For what?
I think, well, for like the overlay, the graphic
Oh,
overlays and
yeah,
stuff. I
that's-
think I'm just going to I'm going to have one for session 0 that's just us,
Mhm.
like that, because and then we'll do an introduction of the characters, and then hopefully the new overlay, I can switch
It'll
to it,
set
or
the
we
scene-
can,
It'll set the scene for session 1, kind of thing.
yeah, and then session 1 will be when the characters show up.
Cool.
I
Works
think.
for me.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be so great. And you guys will get to see it in September
October.
or October, something like that.
October.
Yeah.
I mean, we were joking about how like the one chord fails and like this session 0 doesn't have like we never actually produce a session 0
Yeah,
that can be
I mean-
watchable because something always fails.
We
Who
will
knows?
never, maybe that's our curse.
That's
Who
happened
knows?
once.
Yeah.
One event does not a curse make, but we'll find out.
Yeah. No.
Just the
We'll
audio
find out.
was really not good that day.
No.
Yeah.
Well, wasn't
It was our first time, man. It was the
Oh,
first
no, that was
thing.
at the
That's
studio.
fair.
So. Yeah, I don't know what happened. We don't know what happened.
Well, then my drive version of it died, and I don't have those files anymore.
Yeah, now it's just poof, gone.
I think it's, yeah. Do you have a copy of it, Tony? I think you might have that footage
I
somewhere.
don't think I do. I
Really?
don't. I
Oh,
really
well,
don't.
in that case, there's no hope of anyone ever seeing it, regardless of what happens.
Oh well.
Yep.
Pixie was being a dick
I
and
have-
Gord broke a statue.
I have 9 and 10 is like the earliest I have, I think.
There you go. So it goes. It's beautiful. Like in this digital age that we've actually lost something, Shar would be so proud.
It's the loss that makes it real.
There you go.
Full
I
circle.
do
circle.
have Shia
All right.
LaBeouf. I have Shia LaBeouf.
Good night,
footage.
everybody.
I have the Shia LaBeouf footage. That was fun.
Yeah, we have those like unreleased sessions with a mystery fourth player.
Shout out Jeff.
Yeah.
Space Jesus. Shout out Space Jesus.
Yeah, we miss you, Space Jesus.
We
love you.
do, Jeff. But yeah,
Oh,
I don't know.
I think I do have it. I just found it.
Fuck you,
See?
Shar. Just kidding.
I cast resurrection.
Maybe I'll listen to them again just cause and see how bad the audio really is.
Yeah, man.
Not great. I think I tried to get the audio from the camera too, because we had it just from one of the cameras just to see if that was any better, and it wasn't. But
No, the
I would
camera
imagine
audio is
that.
tough. That
I
was
definitely
bad.
tried to clean it up a lot, and it just didn't want to
Oh,
clean
no, I
up. It
mean,
was-
I'll listen
it's all
to
over
it,
the
but
place.
I am not the sound guy in the group.
We'll do a
Yeah.
dub.
well, if you have it, we should put it back on the other
We should.
drive.
That would be hilarious if we dub it. We should like condense it to like 15 minutes and then we just dub over ourselves. That'd be crazy.
Right. Like,
In
and then
hindsight,
Ben did something.
I mean, I think it'd be funny if we if we were to do that, let someone else like Tony, you be Jastian, and
Yeah, like
Ben, you be Gord, and I don't know.
Could we should do an animatic
Oh, I'm just
of Session Zero,
meeting.
but like in Ant-Man when that
Dude, it's
guy
like my favorite part of that movie.
Oh,
dude, it's the best part ever. And there is a footage of him summing up everything through Avengers Endgame.
Oh, for
They
real?
just haven't released it. Yeah, they haven't. He filmed it, but they haven't released it.
interesting.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Why are they going to keep
It
Jose Guzman
exists.
down?
I know.
Greendale's finest
but
member.
I think he posted it on his Twitter. He's like, yeah, no, I filmed it. Like they just haven't really. It exists. Like it does exist.
Yep.
It's confirmed.
Well, yeah, it's.
But that would actually be really funny. I would
Well, I
love
think
to do that.
if we
one
could
day.
do that as like a recap of the first campaign.
Like our Dragon Ball Z. Yeah.
Yeah.
Abridged.
I would love that.
Figuring out some way. We would, again, the animatics, we would have to.
It's hard.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. We'd have to do some legally dubious things with Hero Forge.
Yeah.
Sponsored. And by that, I mean we're ripping you off.
But we're giving you all the credit.
Yeah.
Does that count?
Yeah.
Thanks, Hero Forge.
Free
Say,
advertising.
produced on
Free
Hero Forge.
advertising. What does it matter?
I've spent enough money with Hero Forge. I feel like they owe me one.
Yeah, right?
Fair enough. Well, guys, we're at 11:30. It's usually an hour. We talked about Grognak and the huge loss that we felt.
Oh,
Episode 64, moving towards 4 more episodes. End of September is the finale, so 4 more episodes until
Hot
we see
dang.
how that happens. And then we have a lot of good DM stuff today, actually, for Session Zero. For all your DMs out there, check this out. Scroll back and listen to Nick talk about what he does for Session Zero, because it's going to be awesome.
Have one.
Yeah, and we're going to
yes.
shoot our Session Zero to come out October, but we're starting our new campaign on Monday.
Yay.
It's gonna be great.
Excited.
It's going to be great. So
So,
thanks for Thanks for tuning in with PeakD&D this Saturday morning. Look for the end of our first campaign and the beginning of the new one. It's going to be great. We have good stuff coming up. So until next time,
Like and subscribe.
and we will see you at the peak.
Boom.
Take care, folks.
Boosh. Skadoosh.